edition of Chief's Corner. As we are all aware, this past weekend I was involved in an incident, and I felt it was important that we shoot a special video and that we update all of our employees, both sworn and professional staff, as to what occurred this past weekend. Last Wednesday evening, I left to a meeting for Major City Chiefs, and I was gone Thursday and Friday and returned home late on Friday night, about 11 o'clock at night. I woke up early Saturday to go to a press conference, and I invited my wife to go with me so that we could grab dinner after the press conference, since we didn't get to spend Valentine's Day together. We got ready, and as we went in, we stopped for a cup of coffee, and we were talking on the way to the southeast for the press conference when we were driving down Central, and I noticed that there could possibly be a homeless encampment on Alvarado north of Central. As most area commanders are well aware, I point this out and I ask that they get them cleaned up when they can. Video will clearly show that I turned from eastbound Central north onto San Pedro, and then I turned west back onto the first street to the north there. I think it's Domingo. As I traveled back westbound, I got to Alvarado and I turned southbound, and I quickly noticed that there was indeed a large encampment. They were on the sidewalk. It was somewhere where we could enforce. And I just passed by it, noting that I was going to give Commander Langwood a phone call. As we reached the intersection of Central and Alvarado, I had a red light. And at the red light, I stopped and I was waiting for the light to turn green when my wife stated, look, those two homeless individuals are about to get into a fight. They were two individuals. I do not know if they were homeless, but they were in some type of argument. I reached down to hit my radio and to hit the horn on my control console when my wife stated gun, gun. I looked up and I could hear that a shot had been fired, and I saw an individual that was holding a firearm pointing it at another individual who was directly in line with my wife. I stayed there a second. I evaluated the situation, and I made the decision that if I were to get down, I had two civilians in front of me, and that the best thing I could do was get my wife out of the way and regroup and see what the best response would be at that point in time. I looked to my left, and the intersection was cleared, and I thought that I had the car was going to pass before I got there, and it did not, and unfortunately I struck a vehicle. The occupant of the other vehicle was injured, and it's just another sign of how gun violence sometimes impacts our community, that you may not even be involved. Myself, my wife, we weren't involved in this altercation. I was worried about my wife's health, and afterwards there was a traffic accident, and a poor innocent citizen just driving down the street was the victim of this traffic accident. And it's a direct impact of what gun violence is doing to our community, and we need to continue to work at it. I did call out. I did submit to a drug test, as any officer would be, breathalyzer test. I also self-reported and told Eric Garcia that they should do an IA on me reference. My camera wasn't on at the beginning of this incident. I think that everybody's been held accountable for cameras, and I wanted to make sure that I was investigated and that the investigation deems, did I have time to turn this on? Was it proper for me to have it on before then? And also to determine if changes like that need to occur within the department to make sure that our officers are being treated fairly. So I will continue to evaluate the situation. I know there's been a lot of questions in the media, and they'll be answered, just like any other question has for any other investigation. I did have all of my equipment. I actually have several. Anybody who's been in my truck knows I have several jackets in my back seat. My radio is always in my truck. I was on the way to press conference, and anybody who looks back on any press conference I've had, I always have my camera, my gun, and my handcuffs. So I feel confident that during the course of the investigation, it will show everything that it needs to show. But once again, it just goes to show how quickly things could escalate, and what I got to see firsthand, what our officers go through each and every day. Things are not changing. We are not going to change processes or policies related to take-home cars over this. I fought hard, and the mayor fought hard in 2018 to make sure that we could have a life-work balance and that our families could be with us during these times. So I'm going to make sure that you don't have to fill out ride-along forms when you're taking your kids and dropping them off at school, as you don't have to now. And we must maintain that work-life balance and recognize that our job is 24/7, and sometimes the only time we get to spend with our families is related to things that we're doing at work. I'm very sorry for the individual in the vehicle who was injured in this accident. Wish him a speedy recovery. I hope that he also recognizes that will ensure that the city does the right thing in terms of this situation. And we did try to reach out to him, but they are not ready to speak to us, and that's not surprising. And I think it's appropriate. Everybody has to speak when the time is right. I just want to once again just remind the community that we do have to make changes within our community, and gun violence can impact everybody from the chief of police to kids in our elementary schools. And I want to thank all of our officers for the job that they do firsthand every day. This weekend was a big reminder to me what it was like to be a patrol officer and have to make difficult decisions and life and death decisions in a split second. With that, I just want to tell everybody thank you for all the messages and the phone calls I've gotten over the weekend from the department and from the community. And my wife is doing well, and she was a little bit sore, and she got some x-rays on Sunday, but we'll continue to push forward. And I still am proud every day of the work the Albuquerque Police Department does. And I hope that everybody starts to recognize and understand that we alone cannot change the community. We need to work hand in hand with all parts of the criminal justice system to end this gun violence, so that innocent people driving down roadways aren't injured, and families going to an event aren't subject to these situations. Thank you, stay safe, and continue to work hard as you do.